Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
Today we're taking a look at a game you might not have heard of, because I barely heard of it, and that's Caesar's Empire. This is based, you in this game are a Roman general being told by Caesar to make all roads lead to Rome, or something like that. Anyway, this is the Caesar.
It's highly thematic.
From the Asterix and Obelix comics.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah, close enough. You know what I meant. Asterix. Anyhow, although they're not in the game other than they're a tiny little picture on the board.
Right. I pointed it out to multiple people and said, theme. See?
Yeah. I want you to be clear, there's no theme. This is a game for 2 to 5 players about connecting roads to Rome. And I'll show you how to play it right now. At the beginning of the game, each spot on the board has a place for that matching city. So this is the 4 brown city. So you'll place those there. And then you're going to take a bunch of tokens and randomly place them on each city. One player goes first, and on a player's turn, they're going to connect a city to Rome. So here's Rome, so I might connect this city by placing this piece here. When that happens, I'm going to get this token, and I'm going to get this city, which could be worth 5 points at the end of the game. I'm also going to get 1 point. You'll take the city that you've connected to Rome, go back to Rome, and you get each player who has a connection gets 1 point. So say, for example, the green player is next. The green player could connect this yellow city here. They'll get this token, this 1 point yellow city, and then we connect it back to Rome. This gives green 2 points and yellow 1 point. Blue could do the same thing, going here, taking this, giving blue 2 points, green 2 points, and yellow 1 point. And then let's say red connects this city here. They'll take this, giving red 1, 2, 2, and 1, except not quite, because whenever you take a coin token, all points are doubled. So this would give red 2, blue 4, green 4, and yellow 2. Now, of course, you can do all sorts of things. This probably wouldn't happen over the course of a game. Yellow might go here in the next turn, which gives them 2 points, because you're trying to make trains going back and forth to collect points. But that's how the game plays. You will continue to do that until every city on the board has been taken. At that point, you're going to do final scoring. Each player scores for their cities, but only for the highest of each city. So this player would get 4 for yellow, 8 for blue, 4 for brown, and 2 for orange, added to the points that they got during the game. Also, as you collect goods and resources, you place them on this board. So you're going to get points for the number of different resources. So here's 6 different resources, give me 20. Another 3 different resources will give me 5. Then 2 of the same gives me 2, 2 of the same gives me 2, and 3 of the same gives me 10. Gold coins are placed here at the bottom. The lowest uncovered number is 9, so that's 9 more points. These points are added to your score, and whoever has the most points is the winner. By the way, this side of the board is for 4 to 5 players. On the other side, you have a 2 to 3 player board, which has fewer cities. That's the game. So Chris, you are the resident hater of overproduced games.
Yes. That is my lot in life that I must carry.
One of your lots.
Fulfill the role, Chris.
That is the picket sign you hold daily.
This is definitely a bigger game than it needs to be.
How could you say that, Tom? I want to spend my money the way that I want to spend it, says someone in the chat right now. So I think my definition of overproduced is when something about the production of the game gets in the way of it. People will spend their money and people want, big pieces of how they want. But I will say, as I taught this game many, many times, I had multiple groups of people say it's a little bit hard to see past the centurion pieces that really could have just been wooden sticks. I like the fact that they're these nice little,
People said they couldn't see them?
People couldn't see past them. Like sometimes they would obscure a dotted line a little bit.
I'm just too tall to know this.
Yeah, you don't have that issue, Tom.
I'm like, what?
Small problem.
We just have the problem of your shadows casted over the board. That's the only problem we have there.
We can't see Tom.
I don't mind it. It does crack me up. I think this game gives you the impression that it's a big game, and it's not.
That's the thing.
It says 30 to 60 minutes on here. That's a straight up lie, but not in the way you normally think.
Right.
If someone took 60 minutes to play this, I don't want to play with that person, because this is This is a 20 to 30-minute game. And I played it with every player count except 2. So maybe 2-player games that only take 60 minutes.
Right. I don't know. I mean, there might be a little bit more of a just head-to-head. You might be thinking longer in that case. But I don't think the game is overproduced, just to kind of wrap up that with a bow. I do agree with you, though, that when you see it on the table, it presents a experience that is not the one that you actually get.
And I think the box is that, too.
Sure.
It just takes up space.
Yeah, so this actually reminded me more of an older game called Transamerica, where you were connecting different cities in Europe or, well, Trans-Europe or Transamerica, Europe or America. And that's all this is. This is literally, you connect the city on your turn, you only have so many turns, 10, 12, 14 turns, whatever, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And there's certain ways to get points. The board is going to be different every time it's set up, so that changes the game a lot, actually, depending on where the stuff is out there. But again, it's just a really short game. But taking all that other stuff out of the equation, do we like it? Is where we're at. I'm asking.
Chris, you're the resident. I don't know what. Do you like it?
I love it.
How many times did you play this in the last week?
So we just had the Dicera retreat, and I taught this to 4 or 5 different groups of people. It was my most played game at the retreat because it's so easy to pull out for a group of up to 5 people, a game that you're going to play in under an hour. It's amazing. Every time
Half an hour.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Sure, yeah. And this is, to me, one of the standout examples of very simple rules, very engaging gameplay, because you care a lot about what other people have done. You're engaged because you see that people are going to be awarding other people points, and so you want to get in on that. So where do you lay your road? Not just to get your own city victory point tile and the goods tile, but also knowing that if I place here, people are going to continue to feed me points through that roadway. And it's all with very simple and very quick decisions. That's really impressive to me.
I like how quick it is. I like how simple of a general game it is. You understand how the scoring and all that kind of stuff works. I felt like it got really abstract for me. Like I felt like it was a multiplayer
It is an abstract, yeah.
And I didn't enjoy that aspect of it. And maybe it's just because it makes me feel stupid. But it's just one of those that, like, I didn't feel like I could build the set collection that I wanted to build. I felt like, oh, I'll go broad or I'll go tall or I get a whole bunch of the same things. And I felt like either way, I didn't really have control over that, especially in a higher player count game. You're just kind of, you can't get to things, you can't build your own paths to get to things. You have to build off other people or if you're building a path to something, someone else is just going to hop in there and they're going to take what you want anyways. And so I think that aspect of it made me just kind of feel like, it's good that it's short, but I don't necessarily love what's going on.
I like the game. The thing, when I first played it, I thought that the decisions maybe were too obvious. I'm like, oh, these are, you don't really have a lot of decisions to make. And then I watched people that were much better than me play the game, and I realized there's plenty of decisions to make. It's deceptive. I think the game is kind of deceptive in a lot of ways. It presents itself as one thing, and it turns out to be something different. It seems like the choices are obvious and simple, but you're probably going to get wrecked by somebody who is playing it more strategically than you. So there is more depth here. I really appreciate kind of just some of the decisions they made as far as your player board takes away a lot of mental load. It's all right there. You can see exactly what you're trying to do. I like the idea that when you take a token, you place on your player board, and you kind of know just visually, I can look down, okay, this is what I'm working at. I can look around the table and see what other people are working for. I think that was very smart. And it just plays so quickly. My only concern, I think, about it is that I do wonder if it's going to be one of those games that burn really brightly at the beginning and then it fades out, because I don't know how much replay it's going to have.
Replay's been pretty good for me. I've played this game a lot. And like I said, with all the player counts except 2, and when I first played, I was like 3. I don't want to play no 5-player game. And then I was like, oh, this actually might be better with 5, and it is. I think it's better. I play with 3, 4, and 5, and I like 5 the best. I like 4 the second best and 3 the third best, but I like them all. But I'm saying the more players, the more points you're like involved in, everyone's scoring. Back in the early aughts, some people tried to bring out a term called the super filler, which unfortunately, I'm kidding about that part, never caught on.
Filler plus, I hear too.
I was like, are we talking about makeup stuff?
But that's what this feels to me, though.
I love filler games because someone says, oh, we don't have a lot of time. What's a game we can play? There's 5 of us. I'm like, you just narrowed it down to like 2% of my collection left.
Yeah.
Correct.
This one fits in that category so well, and it's easy to teach. And at the beginning, people are, wait a minute. It happens in every game I play where someone will build this really long line of just them. And every time they go there, they get points. And suddenly they get double points. You're like, we'll never catch them. I'm like, but they're not getting points in any other way.
Right.
Well, and once you see someone do that, you just cut off with a shorter pathway, and now they can't score this mega road anymore because now you're just funneling points your way. And if we see you getting a mega road, the rest of us at the table will say, build off of Chris's dinky road so that we all share points instead of giving them to Tom. Yes.
And it's interesting because you can get a point. Like if you play on both sides of the board, on the one side there's 3 roads to roam, on the other side there's 5. It's good to get those spots.
Sure.
Because you can do that. So my only negative thing about the game is I think there is the smidge of a first player advantage. And there's nothing to offset that.
Right.
Really.
Sure.
It's super minor though, and I've yet to see that matter.
You offset it by playing again with a different first player.
Yeah, sure.
First player doesn't always win.
No, they don't always win
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
It just feels like first player can go wherever they want.
Sure.
And if you're 5th player, you're kind of giving points to the first player already, possibly.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, the fact that those cities are worth points, and that's something people always miss. They're like, wait a minute, that city's worth 8 points?
Right.
I'm like, yes. 8 points, and this city's worth 1. This one's worth way more. But all that stuff just works together in a really nice way.
You do have to emphasize when you're teaching, only score your biggest
of each
number
color.
city.
Yeah.
Sure, I tell people that every time, and someone always forgets. But
Right,
yes.
and I emphasize it about 3 times throughout the game.
Yep.
If you get that one, you're netting 2 points because
That's largest.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to do it because you want the goods and resources.
Yep.
This is a solid 8 for me. And I could see it going higher, but I really enjoy it. And it is definitely my game of choice in that situation where there's 4 or 5 people where they want to play something that's half hour. Yes, that changes from time to time for me, but right now this is the game for that.
I'm coming in at a 7. I agree with you that for that particular, set up 5 people, 4 or 5 people, and you want a short game that still gives you some nice decisions, this is going to be up there. It's not my favorite type of game. Route building is not my favorite type of game, so that's probably why it's a little bit lower for me, although it's one I certainly recommend, especially in those situations. A lot of times people will use the word elegant when describing board games, and people say, well, what does that mean? Well, you know what? I'm still not going to define it for you, but this is elegant. I know it when I see it. You can teach the game in 5 minutes, and you feel like you've had a still good gaming session in a very short period of time. This feels elegant to me.
Oh, me. Hey, so I'm going to give this a 6.5. I think that I agree with all that you all said, that it's elegant, it fits that very specific scenario, but it's still not a game for me. The abstract nature of it, the positive interaction is interesting, but at the end of the day, I don't think I'm ever going to pull it off a shelf myself. But I'm also very willing to play it if someone else does.
Yep, makes sense.
I'm giving this a 10.
Really?
A 10?
I tell you what, I saw it coming.
0.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
0.
You're saying it's one of your favorite games ever?
This is one of my favorite games ever.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. The smooth, elegant teach, the quick gameplay, the flexibility in player size, the fact that you get a really great experience out of not that much investment, and people kind of want to play it again. Every time I've taught it, someone at some point will go, "This is brilliant, isn't it?" And I also taught a lot of British people, so that's how they said it. But I mean, no joke, right? It's one of those. It's deceptive. It's so simple, and then partway through, people say, "Oh, this really matters. Oh, this road is so important. Oh, I'm going to do this different next time." For me, my only concern might be that replayability, but I've played this so much in the span of time, and I've just had increasing returns of fun every time I played it. It's a 10. It's everything that I want out of a sleek, elegant Euro game.
Well, hopefully we got some more love. It's definitely staying in the Dice Tower library.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to pull it off the shelf with people. So that's Caesar's Empire. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
All roads lead to the Dice Tower.